We made it!
Ah, it's so nice and beautiful. I wish you guys could feel the fresh air. Well, thank you all for being here. My name is Emily, and I'm here with a lovely soil scientist who is a professor at Cal Poly, and her name is Yamina Pressler. Hello.
Hi! Thanks so much for having me.
So why soil?
Soils are literally everywhere. They underlie every single ecosystem around us, and because they're everywhere, it's so easy for them to be overlooked.
That's true. That's very true. Even when we were walking up here today, you know, we're looking at the view and not really looking at what's beneath our feet.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that I think about a lot is how much seeing soil in your everyday life can change your perspective of the world.
What does it mean to be a soil scientist?
Many of us will study the physical, chemical, and biological aspects of soil. Many of us study how those soils came to be, and lots of us study what happens to soils depending on how we manage them or how they might respond to a disturbance or climate change or something like that.
So we've got a lot of different soils in our area, right? What kinds of soils might we find around here?
Oh yeah, San Luis Obispo has all kinds of different soils, and you can imagine that there's a huge variety because of the different landscapes and ecosystems that we have.
Right.
So we have everything from up here on the ridgeline, the mountains, soils that form from decomposing and weathering rock.
Right.
And then we've got stuff along the coast, soils that are forming on those old coastal sediments. And then we have things next to rivers and all over the place. So you can find almost all of the different types of soils here in San Luis Obispo. We're really lucky to live here.
When you're out looking at soil, what is it you're looking at when you're kind of just walking around or?
One of the first and most striking things that I notice when I'm thinking about soil and looking for it is the color. I used to think that soils were just this pile of brown stuff outside in which plants grew, and it wasn't until I took a soil science class that I realized that soils are so colorful. They're more than just brown, though there's lots of different shades of brown.
Yes.
But they're also blue and green and orange and red and yellow and gray and black and every color in between.
Oh, so cool.
You can find the entire rainbow of colors within the soil.
So what role does soil play in an ecosystem?
Of course, soils are the foundation for plant growth. And so that means any plants from grasses to shrubs to trees all rely on soil to live there. And that's super important for agriculture, right? Like we have to grow our food, and soil is the medium in which plants grow. But soils also regulate our water resources. Soils are also the most biodiverse habitat on the planet. It's estimated that we have only characterized about 1% of the biodiversity within soils.
Really?
Yeah, it's a tiny amount. So if you want to discover something, soils are the place to go.
All right.
For sure.
It's good to know.
Yeah. Another important service that soils provide is they help regulate our climate. So if we want to understand how to mitigate climate change, knowing something about how carbon is stored for the long term in soils is really, really important. Soils also preserve our cultural resources, and many of the pharmaceuticals, so like the medicines that we have, a lot of them have their origins in soil.
Interesting.
So the list of things that soils quote unquote do for us is really, really long. But soils are also this beautiful part of nature. And they're a part of nature that we so often don't think enough about.
You have brought soil into your artwork. And so what are some things that you've done with soil to be able to do that?
Yeah.
Is it actually just taking the soil and throwing it on a piece of paper? Is it changing the soil? What is it that you do to it?
Soil serves both as an inspiration for the artwork that I make, but I also work with art supplies that incorporate soil. Sometimes all it is taking a swatch of glue stick, putting it across a page, and sprinkling a little bit of soil on there and preserving it as like, yes, I have seen and experienced and interacted with this soil.
I love that.
But I've also been for a long time working with soil-based watercolor paints, and I have a lot of fun painting soil with soil.
I could see that being really fun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Well, thank you so much, first off, for just taking the time to
course.
share with us a little bit about your daily life, what kind of draws you to soil and why you find it important to study soil, and kind of showing us that anyone can study soil and it can connect to us in so many different ways. But if you had any parting words for our students?
I think the best thing that you can do is follow your curiosity. even if you don't know where it might lead you. I didn't even know what a soil scientist was.
I didn't either.
But as soon as I started to learn more about it, it sparked my curiosity. There was something exciting about it. And I just kind of followed that thread. I kept following that thread. And as long as I was excited about the next step, that was good enough. And so my advice is to follow your curiosity. It might lead you into a hole in the ground looking at soil somewhere. It might lead you some unexpected places, but it will never lead you astray.
All right, well, you heard it from Yamina. Make sure you go out and be curious, and hope you guys have enjoyed our day with us here on this beautiful Cuesta Ridge and outlook. So thank you guys.
Thanks. Bye.